So this area here of the allotment has changed quite a bit. If you cast your mind back to when we first got the plot, you will remember that there were two old manure bins. One of them was this way, so sort of from there all the way along there, and it faced this. This is the communal area here. Our plan with this one had been to turn it into a flower bank, and it was actually quite successful this year. We had a spring bank in the spring, and we had my gladioli across the summer. We emptied the soil that was in the other bin, which was a far smaller bin, and that was sort of here, in this little square here, and I emptied it over here, put a fence in along the bottom, and that became my flower bay. I have to say that I was quite impressed by my flower bay, and it did quite well. Unfortunately, when I broke my ankle, that was one of the areas that suffered a little bit, and apart from the gladioli, it was full of weeds. Now, I had no problem in redoing it all over again the following year, but it was old, and it was made of metal that was beginning to sort of rust and fall apart. Now, that had been the case since we inherited the plot, so, you know, why it needed to be done quite as quickly as it has been, I don't know. But we were offered some second-hand bins from another plot, and they would actually fit in this slot down here, leaving us that little bit behind there as extra space, I presume. And the idea was for compost. Now, originally we were going to put our compost bins there, 3 going across, when this wood would be used for the patio, which was going to be sort of over there, and we were going to get rid of those nursery bins. Now, that was a winter weekend project that I was going to push for, because it didn't happen last year, and we need to have that done so that we can put in a greenhouse which would go sort of just next to there. And that needs to happen because there are things that we were growing this year outside which were not doing so well because they weren't grown in a greenhouse. So, this was a little bit awkward because we had to get rid of this pretty sharpish, and we actually had to get in help from outside to do that. It will hopefully be the same person who does that. So, anyway, that's done now, so we're waiting for the bins. Those are the inherited bushes that we were given from the last year. This time last year they arrived, and they did crop this year, but we didn't get too many of them because unfortunately that's when I broke my ankle and the birds got most of that. Here we've got our pumpkins. They are a bit early because we planted them early, but there we are. And look, it's highly likely that will be edible by the time the plants finish dying. There is another one over there actually. There's a butternut squash. Our strawberries are exploding over towards the path, which was the plan, but I also heard that we might be getting rid of a lot of the old ones and planting some new ones next year because they've had their best. Apparently these are quite old. Finally, our courgette plants are beginning to die off, but you can see that there are still flowers there. There's a bud on that one as well. And basically what's happened is every time it goes cold and these plants try to die off, we have a hot week or something like that. We have a warm week, and suddenly they're forced to flower all over again and fruit. These are our corn, and we're getting there with the corn. You can see the cobs there. There's a cob there. They grow. Basically, these are the flowers, and they scent, heavily scent. They smell of like hyacinth, very, very strong. And when they stop smelling, I presume that's the sweet in the corn, the cubs develop there. And there are two types. There's this one, and you can see that the little hairs on it are sort of whitey blue, whitey pale. That's still growing, that is. But when the cob and the little hairs on top go like that, it's ready. So that's ready to be picked now, which is spectacular. This is our shelter, and we are going to leave this up this year, which is not the case for all the stuff that we've had in the allotments, and we've taken it down. You can see behind it there is our chard. Next year I want ruby chard, because I didn't realise that we'd be able to get the chard to grow quite so well, and I just think ruby chard would look good. That is the bank of earth that has come from these bins. The onions have obviously been harvested now, and you can see that the big wall there that had the peas and the Monge 2s growing up, that's been taken down because we feel that's a bit fragile to leave over the winter if we get the storms, but that hopefully will be back next year. Although probably not there, it will probably be here instead because of crop rotation. Parsnips, and I think most of the oh no, there's still a few down here. There's the Chernobyl carrots. We have baby Brussels sprouts now actually on these. I don't know if you can see down there. Those are baby Brussels sprouts, which are right on cue, and my purple sprouting broccoli. And then if I go along here, all of this has been cleared, you see, because we've finished with this now. Potatoes have gone. Yep. My only concern is this. I have a feeling that might have died. That was a gooseberry bush. So we need to have a look at that. But other than that, my job now... Oh, here's the lavender, by the way. My job now is to take up the paths, because the paths are sort of made of a type of weed suppressant, and their fabric and I don't know if you can see from there actually, but they are getting a bit nasty, so we were thinking of taking them up and putting new ones down before the winter, so that we still have something to walk on. I do apologise for the fact that I haven't done one of these updates in months. You will have to bear with me. I think next year will be a lot better, presuming that I don't actually have another accident. So, there we are.